Hello and welcome to another video from Vital Yoga. My name is Pam Blackley. I've designed this class to help you to mobilise your body, the joints, the muscles, to stay strong and to remain calm. Shall we begin with rebounding, shaking everything loose, just pounding heels on the floor, shrugging the shoulders, flapping the wrists, generally stirring up the energy in the body. Shoulders bouncing, knees, hips, heels pounding. And then standing tall in Tadasana with the backs of your knuckles touching. We'll begin with a practice to open up our breathing capacity. Centering your weight through the 3 points in the feet, the base of the big toe, base of the little toe, and the center of your heel, as though you're plugging in your 3-pin plug into the energy of the earth. Draw yourself up tall with some support through the front of the body, through the muscles alongside your spine. Let your shoulders sink down. And now breathing in, lift your elbows, lift your fists up to about the level of your face. And breathing out, lower down again. Next time lifting a little higher, inhaling, lift the elbows up to the level of the forehead. And exhale. Arms drop down, shoulders soften down. A little higher still perhaps, if that is comfortable for your shoulders. Inhaling, inhaling. Lift above the head. Notice that we're gradually increasing the capacity, taking in more air of the lungs. Go back to the beginning. First to chin. Exhaling, lower your arms, fists against the abdomen. Inhale, lifting up to the forehead, elbows wide. Exhale, lower to the belly. And higher still, inhale. Open the chest, air coming into the upper reaches of the lungs. Exhale. Lower your hands down by your side. And now the fluid lung breath. We'll begin on the right side. Bring the right palm up and turn. And then gradually lift your elbow and reach to the ceiling. Bring the elbow out to the side and arm back by your thigh. And as you repeat the movement, elbow swinging out, imagine that your lung is mobile and fluid and moving up into your elbow, that there is no physical restriction to that soft parenchyma tissue of the lung to prevent it from flowing. And as the right side of your body opens up, free of restriction, free of limitation, imagine the lungs sliding up, expanding, absorbing. And now we'll do the same with the second side. So left hand lifts and rotates and the elbow swings outwards. And the sides of your chest open up as the palm presses up. And then exhaling, lower, hand back by your side. Observe the opening of the tissue in between the ribs, giving you access to expansion of your lungs. Opening up the volume, the capacity of your lung to take in air. Let the lung move up into your shoulder, into your elbow. One more like that. Inhaling, lift the palm, rotating, elbows goes to the side and reaches. And then releasing down, come back by your side. And just pause there for a moment. Observe the sensations that are present after that initial movement. Let's make more of a lateral movement now. So take your feet just slightly wider than hips and tilt to the left side. Let your right arm lift to the shoulder, lift your elbow and take the hand up, exploring your potential for that lateral movement. Lower the elbow, bring the hand down again. Go again, inhale. Tilting, lift the right elbow, point it up, expand through the right side of the rib cage, and then bring the hand down. Body comes upright, release down by your side. Go again into a half moon pose, tilting to the left in a lateral plane. Right hand lifts your shoulder to the sky with the elbow and then reaching. And stay here for a couple of breaths. Initially, turn your head to look up and then very slowly turn the head to look down. Bring the hand back to the shoulder, lower the elbow, come back by your side. Compare the sensations in your right side with those in the left side. Feeling quite different now. Let's go to the second side. So take a breath in. On your exhale, tilt over to the right. Bring up your left hand to the shoulder. Elbow lifts and reach. And open up the left side of the rib cage. And then hand comes down, lower the elbow, upright once again. And continuing that same movement, on the exhale, tilting over to the right, take the elbow up and open up. And the third, again, we'll stay in the pose for a few breaths. First tilting, hand lifts to shoulder, raise the elbow. Feel how your shoulder blade glides over the back ribs. Staying here for a few breaths. Turn the head to look up. And then slowly turn the head to look down. Centering head, bring hand to the shoulder, upright again, and return to Tadasana. Bring feet back under the hips. Sense the changes now present in the chest. Let's move on to a rotating movement. So cross your hands over your chest. We're making some contralateral connections. So right hand to the left side of the chest, left hand to the right side. Now we're going to press the left hand on the right shoulder, turn the chest, with the right hand tucked behind your waist and rotate. Head is turning right. And then release. And bring your palms back onto the chest and take note which hand comes to the chest first. We're going to alternate that. So now pressing with your left hand, turn your trunk to the left. Let your right arm swing behind. And your eyes are observing all the shapes and colours as you rotate. And then release. Bringing your hands back onto the chest. Did you remember to alternate which one touches the chest first? Going again to the right. Eyes observing. Chest rotating. All of the colours and shapes in your pathway. And now, left hand taking your chest around to the left. From my vantage point, I can see the glorious autumn colours in the tree outside. Once again, right side turning right, left hand pushing you around. And now keep the chest still here and turn just your head. So slowly looking back over the opposite shoulder. Head turning to the left while the chest is turning to the right. And slowly come back again. Eyes observing all the colours and shapes in the path. And let it go. Once again, to the second side. Right hand is assisting that rotation to the left. And then observing everything in your pathway. Slowly turn your head and look to the opposite side. Noticing everything as your eyes track around the room. Go back again. Head turning the same way as the chest. And then let it go. Let's loosen up some more for the shoulders. So hands to the shoulders and easy flowing circling movements. Lifting elbows, rotating, a little support through the front, the core muscles that support the front of the body. And now reversing the circling. Loosening any tension around the shoulders. And let's work on the neck. So we're going to use the hand and trace out a figure 8 pattern, an infinity symbol. So the head is turning, following this pattern. Turning from side to side, dropping down and looking up. And now without requiring the hand movement, we'll move the head in this same fashion. So lift the chin and look up. And then bring the head across to look down low to the right side. Lifting to look up. And then drawing across, down low to the left. Looking up to the left, coming across, looking down low to the right. Continue that pattern for a few more movements. Paying attention to the sensations in the neck, allowing the movement to be loose, a gliding, free-moving fluid action. One more complete figure 8 pattern. And then coming to the center. Return again to Tadasana. Lightly paying attention and noticing how perhaps the neck feels a little different. The shoulders are able to sink lower. Our next movement will be a sequence of a back arch, a forward bend, and then dropping down deep and low into a squat. So place your hands around your hips, on the hip crest, thumbs pressing in at the back, making sure that the feet are pretty much parallel. And we're going to take a breath and Let the hips come forward, gradually lengthening in the front of the chest, elbows drawing back. And depending on the comfort of your neck, you may choose to keep your chin tucked down towards the chest, or if your neck is fine, raise the chin up. Stretch through the front of the body, elbows drawing back. And release. Tuck the chin down to the chest and hands sliding down the backs of the legs. Bend the knees as you lower down into a forward bend. Hands moving down lower, down towards the ankles and feet. You could straighten the legs if that feels comfortable. Draw the abdomen in. Draw the chin a little towards the chest. And then, if your knees allow you to drop down into a deep squat, you could have your fingertips on the floor. The heels may be raised or flat to the floor, whatever is feasible for you. I have my fingertips on the floor, my heels lifted, and then I'm bringing my palms together, elbows pressing into the thighs. And then straightening up, and we're going to repeat that same sequence. Bring the feet under the hips again for the back arch. I'll turn sideways so you can notice the extension of the spine. Hands on the hips, thumbs pressing into the sacrum. Take a breath. Let your hips move forward. Stretch through the front of the hips. Shoulders reaching back, elbows drawing back behind. If your neck is comfortable, lift the chin. Firm in the buttocks. Then release. And we'll move into the opposite plane, opposite direction, chin to chest, massaging the backs of the legs. Bend the knees to protect the back as you come into Uttanasana. Straighten the legs if you're able to, if that's feasible. Hold behind the calves or the ankles, draw your chest inwards. And then we'll drop into our squat. So take your feet wider, drop down, straighten the back, let the hips hang low, and perhaps bringing the palms together or keeping your fingertips for balance on the floor. Take a few breaths here. And let it go. And use your hands, give yourself a lift. Come to stand and take a little Kati Chakrasana. So loose swinging, swinging, swinging. Taking weight from one foot to the other. More vigorously if that suits you. Arms swinging higher. Then slowing it. Arms drop lower. And we're going to make this rotation movement a little more deliberate. Starting with your palms together in front of the chest. And take a breath and wrist extended. Press your right foot, turning chest to the left. And then changing sides, palms grazing. And then the left hand extends, pushing away. And your eyes traveling, gazing in the path, everything you see. So one hand tucks behind the hips while you make this very deliberate spinal rotation. Make it slower and looser. So less forcible, more reaching for the full range that is available to you while keeping your shoulders comfortable, your face soft. A feeling of firmness that supports you, allowing a free ranging reach for the upper spine. And then coming back to center, pause. Notice how you feel after that. Step the feet a little wider now. We're going to go back to our lateral movement and then convert it into a classic Trikonasana. So beginning with tilting to the right, left hand lifts to the shoulder, elbow rises, hands to the ceiling. Your right hand is supported on the leg, and then let it go, arms wide, coming back to the heart. And now take the precise foot positioning for triangle pose. We're turning our right foot out exactly along the line of the mat and the left heel swinging away, so the left toes come towards this forward direction. Same lateral movement, this time adding an extension of the arms on the in-breath, then tilting on the out-breath. Let the back of the hand press against the inside of your straight front leg. And then release, arms rising. Come back to the heart. We're going to repeat this a few times. Inhale, so that the body senses the requirement for support, for stability through the legs and hips. Rise back to the heart. Same again. Inhale, spread, exhale, tip. Find this grounding action through the feet, and then inhale, rise. Return, hands in front, center of the chest. This is the last repetition, and we'll stay in the posture for a few breaths. Inhale, exhale. Find that support back of the hand against the leg. Extending the spine long. Finding the connection to the earth through the feet. If you wish, turn your gaze to look up to the ceiling. And slowly looking down towards the floor. And bend the front knee as you release the pose. Return the hands to the heart. Step your feet under the hips again and pause for a moment and observe the effects. This action of checking out the sensations that we find happening in the body, we're increasing our capacity for interoception. Interoception is the ability to observe, to follow, to articulate what you notice is going on for you. And research has shown that increasing our capacity for interior sensation is an advantage when it comes to mental resilience, for noticing the effects of our circumstances and processing them and going forward, dealing with them. Let's take the pose to the second side. So, left foot turns out, Right toes come around in the same direction. Hands to the center of your chest. Stand up tall. Take a breath in. Expand wide across the chest. And exhaling, moving on the breath. Lower the left hand to rest against the leg. Find the support. And then inhale. Back to the heart. Inhale. Tilting, a sideways lateral movement. And then inhale, rise. Return again, full stop. Twice more. Inhale, spread. Exhale. Folding down the back of your hand against the leg. Inhale. Release the shoulders, soften the face. This is the last. We'll stay in the pose for a few breaths, as suits you. So always adjusting the practice, optimizing it for your own needs. If you wish, turn your head to look up to the ceiling. And then rotate, look down to the floor. To release, bend the knee, rise, bring the palms back in front. Now we'll take a symmetrical forward bend, Prasarita Padottanasana. Make sure your feet are parallel, perhaps going even a little wider in the stance. Take the hands to the tops of the legs, stand up tall. A few breaths here. And then inhale, lift overhead, interlace, stretch so you're very tall. Exhale, hands to the tops of the legs, folding forward, hands pushing a little on the legs to give the sense of increasing the spacing, increasing the opening in the lumbar vertebrae, making more space. And then, if you wish, exhale and drop deeper, hands sliding towards calves or ankles, lower the shoulders, chin tucks in slightly, and you might draw your chest in closer to the legs. Hold for a few breaths. And then soften the knees, unwind the spine, take the arms overhead and interlace, not in your usual habit, the other thumb on top this time. Stretch out and release down. Let's repeat that. So we change the interlace of the fingers to create new connections in the neurons in the brain. So your normal habit, interlace, turn the palms up. Exhale. Tops of the legs, hands folding forward. Pause there with your trunk parallel to the floor and a sense of length from the sit bones at the back to the crown of the head. You could stay here, or you could fold deeper, in which case, on the exhalation, massaging the backs of the legs as you move down into your deepest forward bend. A few breaths there. And then bend the knees, drop the hips down. Unwind the spine. Reach the arms wide. Interlace with the other pattern. Full stretch. Let the arms come down, back to the center of the chest. Bring your feet under the hips. Observe the sensations. Observe the movement of energy through the body. Our practice promotes the movement of prana, of life force, adds to our supply of prana. Let's make some movements on the floor. I'm going to move the camera lower. So that we can work on the mat. Come on to hands and knees. With your shoulders stacked above the wrists, hips above the knees. We'll work with Chakravakasana. Inhale, draw your chest forward, loosen the belly. Exhale, chin to chest, turn the tail down, lengthen in the lumbar region and slowly go back, hips towards the heels. And when you're ready to breathe in, draw forward again, inhaling, and exhaling, chin towards the chest, tail leading down so that your lumbar vertebrae and back muscles are lengthened. The same again. Breathing in, heart comes forward, and then this time lifting into downward facing dog. And return knees to floor. Breathing in, folding back to child pose. Next time, we're going to use downward facing dog as a transition into plank pose. So draw your shoulders above your wrists. You might need to shuffle your feet back so your stance is longer. Go back to downward facing dog. And then lower the knees, hips to the heels. We'll make that sequence again. Inhale, draw your heart forward. Exhale, long in the lumbar region, drawing the abdomen in, sinking down, stretching over the buttocks, elbows to the floor. Inhale again. And then lift the hips into downward facing dog. And now moving forward into plank. Body long, hands pressing away against the floor. Strong and rigid over the shoulders, chest. Folding back to downward facing dog. And then inhale. Back to child pose. Take that sequence one more time. Inhale, letting your spine mobilize, moving through a range of action. Hips sink down, lift up your palms, make your fingers into a little tent shape, stretching around the shoulder blades differently. Heart comes forward. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale into plank. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Fold back, downward facing dog. And then knees down. Hips sink back. And then lift up onto your knees and release the wrists. So elbow straight, circling fists around. let's make a couple of movements for strengthening the core at the front of the body and strengthening the support muscles at the back of the body. So come to lie on your back. First of all, we'll begin with a stretchy breath. So straighten out, inhale, fingers interlace, press away through the palms. And now release arms down and bring the knees up so they're stacked at right angles up above the hips. And for a moment, press your knees into your hands pressing into your knees. And there's a sense of support. The ribs are down low. We're not letting the ribs poke up. There's the slightest hollow, your natural curve behind the waist. And then we're going to take the right hand to the left knee and reach away through the right arm and the left leg, and then bring them back together. And then the opposite limbs reaching away. I'll push my bowl out of the way. So inhale, opposite limbs, and then coming back with firm pressure. Inhale, exhale, and push. Inhale, and push. Inhale, and push. 4 more. Inhale, and push. Inhale, and push. Push. Last one. And then allow your feet to come to the floor. Knees drop wide. Loosening now. Shall we repeat that? We'll do 10 breaths before we roll to work with the muscles of the back body. So, take a breath. Lift your knees. Hands pressing into knees and knees pushing into hands. Shoulders down. A feeling of firm pressure. Isometric contraction. And now we're going to extend back with the left arm and the right leg coming forward. 1, 2, and push. 3, and push together. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more. 9, 10. And then release the arms, soles of the feet together. Relax. Relax in the hip flexors. And then we'll work on the muscles in the core muscles close to the spine in the back line. So we're going to lie prone with arms extended forward, unless that's quite a problem for your shoulders, in which case you could work with your arms by your sides. The exercise is to keep your chest resting low, and then we'll lift right arm and left leg, and left arm and right leg, and so on. We'll do 10 lifts. So no need to lift the chest so much, just raise the limbs, opposite limbs. Take a breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you're working with arms by your side, it would be similar, lifting left arm and right leg towards one another. Pause there, have a rest, rock the hips from side to side. We'll do 10 more. And noticing the connection from shoulder to opposite hip. That firm line of fascia that interconnects, wraps around the body, enabling the movement in the back line of the body. So if you're working with your arms extended, reach out once again. And we'll do 10 more lifts. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And bring your arms by your side, turn the head, rock the hips a little from side to side. Take a few breaths there. And our final strengthening movement will be a forearm side plank. So this pose is going to be strengthening for all the muscles in the torso. And we have a couple of options for that position. Firstly, the elbow is located directly under the shoulder. And one option would be to bring the top leg, place the foot flat on the floor. So we have 3 points of lift, the elbow, the upper foot and the lower leg. So the aim is to raise the hips from the floor. So we'll be repeating that. Or second alternative would be to have both legs straight, resting heel to toe on the floor. And we're going to raise and lower the hips, lifting the top hand to the ceiling. Are you ready? Take a breath in. So we're aiming to be straight, head, trunk in line all the way towards the feet. Take a breath in. Push the elbow, lift the hips, hand to the ceiling. We'll stay here for a few breaths. Each time you exhale, a little more lift. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then lower the hips, change sides. So swing around, choose your leg position, either foot of the top leg on the floor or both legs straight. Are you ready? If 10 breaths is not suitable for you, you set your own intensity. Bring the elbow beneath the shoulder. We'll go again. Take a breath in. Lift the hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lower the hips. Lie on your back. Take a stretchy breath. Inhale. Extend long. And exhale. Lower the arms down by your sides. Pause there. And we'll take a gentle sort of a universal spinal twist. Start by bringing your right knee to the chest. Breathe in. Exhale, curling up, shoulders and head towards the knee. And then keeping your grounded leg active, rotate the leg across the midline, shoulders stay on the mat. Turn your head away. And then release and hug that knee close to your chest again. Exhale, straighten out. And the second side the same. Curling in. And then shoulders staying on the floor. Knee moving across the midline. Notice the sensations. Release. Curl in close. And stretch out. And pause there. Then please make your way to a comfortable sitting position for our breathing practice. I'll use my lovely wave bolster. And our practice today is a very gentle form of Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is, it has this wonderful quality of making us feel really calm, really capable, as though nothing will trouble us. The first stage of the practice is to make your breathing slower. So begin by observing the flow of your breath, making sure that your spine is extended, you're sitting up tall, not impeding the flow of prana through the spine, through the whole body. Back of the neck is long, chin slightly tucked. Begin to slow down your breath. The instruction for Ujjayi breathing is usually something along the lines of the advice to constrict your throat so that the airway is narrowed, and the breath will have to use a little more push from the abdominals to help the breath flow through that narrow throat. Today our practice is very gentle, more subtle, barely perceptible in fact. So keeping your breath very slow, observing the flow, the slight friction as the air moves from the back of your throat down into the trachea on its way to the lungs. Imagine that the breath is massaging the inside of your throat. Your focus is sharp there, anchored on the feeling of the breath. Just like a subtle pressure, a subtle massage for the moist mucous tissues in your throat and your trachea. And I shall count 8 breaths. So I'm going to touch my index finger to my thumb on number 1, and then the second finger, and so on. So 4 breaths counting with my right hand, and then 4 breaths counting with my left hand in the same way. Maintain your slow, lengthy, smooth breath. Number 1, thumb and first finger gently pressing together. Noticing the touch of air, the gentle massage. Moving your fingers along to count. Breath is slow and smooth. 4 breaths, transferring the count to the left hand. Stroking molecules of air gently glide in your trachea. And after your 8 breaths, you could let the practice go. Sit in stillness. Let your awareness remain inside, in your interior. Go to that very essence of yourself, your innermost self. Simply be. Rest in that healing space of stillness. Mind is quiet. Nothing to do but to simply be. Be yourself. And now it's time to move down to rest in savasana. Please make yourself comfortable with support under your head, behind the knees. Make yourself warm and find that feeling of being ready to let go. That mat, the earth, is supporting you. I shall ring my gong. Please take rest. Absorb the benefits of our practice. Stay in Shavasana as long as you wish. Absorb the benefits on every level of your being. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Until next time.